Aloha, it's me, Dashama. Welcome back. Today I'm excited to talk about a really cool topic. Astrology and numerology has been an integral part of my life, and I'm going to share with you how it can help you to access more bliss in your life because it gives you more inner peace, more knowingness about who you are, what you're here for, your purpose of life, and it can even help you to predict the future and plan ahead so that you can ride the waves of what the universe has specifically in store for you all throughout your life. And I will also in this video share with you a website that you can go to and do your own free astrology reading. So let's go into it. It's a very cool topic. And if you're into astrology, leave a comment, let me know what's your sign, what's your sun sign. And also click like, share this with your friends that are into astrology. Right now it's actually the new moon. It's what motivated me to create this video because I was thinking about how much the moon affects our energy and our overall vitality, and the phases of it are continuously changing. Every single month we have the full moon, the new moon, the waxing, the waning, all sorts of different phases of the moon. And these phases are all indicative of a certain type of energy that we may be experiencing. And then we can also go in deeper than that and look at the phase of the moon that you were born under. And that actually is influencing your personality in many different ways. One thing that my sister recently was just talking to me, because I'm such an energetic person and I have a lot of kind of this fire, go get it type of energy, and she's kind of the opposite. We would just laugh about it because she calls herself the turtle. Like, she's a slow and steady type of person. Maybe you can relate. Which one are you, the turtle or the fireball rabbit, right? So she was just thinking she wanted to be a little bit more fiery because she has these big goals and she wants to achieve them. And then I was talking to her, I was like, well, maybe you can get a little bit of that going. And I was, I'm working with her to help her. I'm coaching her with this new business that she's developing. But anyway, so I was looking at her astrology, and especially the moon when she was born. It was actually a full moon eclipse, which is very rare and unique. She didn't even know that. But anyway, it influences your personality, whereas mine was a exact half moon. So the energy of the half moon is all about breakthroughs and catalyzing change and transformation, and it's like this energy that it's half here and half there, so it wants to, kind of like make things happen. And so that's why my personality is so action oriented. Whereas someone else, maybe yourself, you have a little bit of struggle with motivation perhaps. So anyway, you can start to understand yourself better by understanding these certain elements. There's not just the moon, of course. There's the sun, there's the moon, there's all the other planets, Venus and Mars and Mercury and Jupiter and Neptune, Uranus and Saturn and Pluto. So these are the planets that exist in the universe. And then where they were specifically, the moment of your birth determines in a great measure your character, your personality, your inner drive and motivation, even as much as you can see in your astrology your destiny. And there's a specific part of the astrology, it's called your North Node, and that determines your destiny. Like, what are you here for? What is your specific purpose in life? And the other thing that's really integral is there's two other things. There's a Chiron placement. Chiron is actually a little node. It's not a full planet, but it's like a little node of the moon. But wherever Chiron was at when you were born determines your greatest challenge in this life. And it can help you to understand, why you had to deal with certain major challenges. Like, as an example, my Chiron is in the 4th house in Taurus, so it actually makes a lot of sense. I had a very rough childhood, and so a lot of my deepest pain came from my early childhood and my experience with my family. So, I was looking at different people. For example, Leonardo DiCaprio, his Chiron is in the 7th house. So it kind of makes sense. His parents were divorced, and so 7th house is all about marriage and relationships. And if you have Chiron there, a tendency is that either your parents were divorced, something happened with your parents, and or you have a deep problem committing in relationships, basically. And so if you look at someone like Leonardo DiCaprio, you know, he's always got a different girlfriend, and so you can kind of tell he's not married. You can see that Chiron placement really makes sense. And so I'm able to see all of this in astrology. The other really important one is your ascendant. So the ascendant is basically where the sun was coming up on the horizon when you were born. Like I was born exactly like almost at sunset, so 8:22 p.m. Whereas someone who's born in the sunrise will be born on the ascendant. The sun will be on the ascendant. Someone like Meghan Markle, her sun is on the ascendant. A lot of people whose sun is directly on the ascendant, especially in the first house, become very famous because the sun is illuminated the more you're born, and so it brings a lot of light to you, and the light's always shining on you. Other people with the sun placement, there's like for instance Leonardo DiCaprio, or people that are generally like celebrities, people, I think even Shakira, a lot of people like that just, the light's always on them, and it makes a lot of sense. They're born as the sun is rising, and the sun is a dominant energy for them. Anyway, so you can determine all of this, and what I've learned too, when I combine this with numerology, for example, it's even more incredible and powerful. And you're able to see your life path, your destiny numbers, your purpose of life, like what you're here for, your general energy and kind of character. And all of this is determined through your numerology and your astrology. And when you combine these, you can really understand yourself better. The other thing that's really helpful for is you can understand others better. So now, for instance, I always check people's astrology and their numerology when I'm going to work with them, or if we're going to be maybe in a relationship or anything like that, because some people might think, oh, this is all woo-woo, it doesn't mean anything. But I have learned over the years how incredibly accurate it can be. And the reason that I say it's so accurate is because, like for instance, when you try to make a relationship work that's not meant to be, you can actually look in the astrology and you can see that the reason it's not meant to be is because you're not compatible. It's like one person is round and the other one is a square, right? Trying to put a round into a square peg, that's an old saying. It's like that. So if somebody is like so opposite from you, you can see that in the astrology. And what it does is it actually affects how you connect, how you relate. Like, you ever notice how some people, you just have like kind of this bad communication and it never seems to really flow, and then other people it's just pure love and harmony, and you're like, yeah, I love this person, they're my best friend because we just have the best communication. You can see that in the astrology. You know, I have like one of my best friends, we have like 5 planets in the 7th house, and they're all like positive planets, like Venus and Mercury and the sun. And so it's like we just, when we're around each other, we just get along so well. We've never had any conflict, and we just have like such a beautiful, harmonious connection. So that is possible. So if you're wondering with relationships or different types of things going on in your life, like, will I find somebody that's a good match in terms of communication or lifestyle or even your goals and dreams. Another one with relationships, for instance, is when I look at relationship astrology, I always look in the composite chart, I always look to see where is Chiron, because in your relationship compatibility, Chiron is going to determine a huge factor in how you connect. So for instance, if you have Chiron in your 5th house or 7th house, that relationship is going nowhere in terms of romantically, because 5th house is sex and playfulness and fun and children, and if you have Chiron there, it's basically saying you're not in this lifetime to have sex or have fun or have children. So that relationship, it can be good in different ways, like maybe it's intellectual, maybe you inspire each other in different ways, but you're not here to have children and get married, so just forget about that. And the other thing is if it's in the 7th house, because the 7th house is all about marriage and relationships. So if your Chiron is there, tendency is that one or two or one or both of the people will have commitment issues, right? So maybe you've been in these types of relationships where you're like, I don't understand this person, like we have such a great relationship but they just don't want to commit, and or something like that, right? If you've ever had that type of situation, It may be that the Chiron is in the 7th house. It may not be, but that could be a part of it. Another one that I found interesting is when Chiron's in the 2nd house in the relationship composite, it means that one person feels inferior to the other person. So it can be okay if it's a relationship in terms of like a student teacher, because if you look up to someone, you think of them as they're a little bit ahead of you, and so you feel comfortable about that. But if it's like a romantic relationship and one of you feels like you're always the teacher of the other one, that can feel very draining, because it doesn't feel like you're equals. It doesn't feel like you're compatible. You don't feel like you're on the same page. And so this can be, non-compatible. So anyway, you can really see all the different ways that how astrology can transform your understanding of yourself and your relationship to others. One of the things that I learned so powerfully is also to see, and this is how you can predict the future. If you want to know how to predict the future, this is how you can do it. And I'm going to make another video about my prediction. I call it the Aquarian Age 2024 prediction, because I know some things that are happening in 2024 and leading up till then that are going to absolutely be transforming humanity, not just individuals, but as a whole, and the whole world is heading into this massive shift, and I'm excited about it because it's positive. But in the meantime, there's a lot of hard, dark stuff coming up, and that's always the case. Whenever darkness needs to be purged, it comes up, and that's what's happening right now with the volcano eruptions and with Trump presidency and the Me Too movement and all of this kind of destruction energy. It's actually very positive. I'm gonna make a video about that in the future. Leave a comment, let me know if you want me to make videos about stuff like that. Anyway, because these are the ways that you can predict the future. It's also the way that you can handle life, because you can see things from a different perspective. You can see it as a blessing instead of seeing it as, like that we're victims to the world and that the world is so bad. The world is actually in absolute divine and perfect order. It always is. So if you can understand that and you can see life in that way, you will feel much more empowered to live your life to the fullest and to not be weighed down by the burdens of the way that society or the world seems to be in this moment, because everything is in constant and continual change, and that is the beauty of life. Okay, so I wanted to say one more thing that I learned about. So in astrology, for instance, I am able to see my North Node is in Leo, and my Venus is also in Leo, and they're in the 7th house. And then my Sun is in Leo. My Sun is in actually Cancer. My Sun is in Cancer, but it's in the 7th house. So I have the Sun, the Venus, and North Node all in the same house. So this is a very interesting thing, because this actually helps me to understand that a big part of my life purpose is in partnerships. And I learned this actually years ago, and it's helped me a lot. It helped me to grow my company to be an international brand that millions and millions and even hundreds of millions of people around the world, because I learned that partnering with others has been the greatest catalyst for growth in my life. Now, some people it's a little bit different than that. Like, for instance, one of my ex-boyfriends, his sun, he had a stellium, 4 planets in the 10th house. So he doesn't really need to partner with anybody. His energy is so powerful just by itself. Like, all of his planets are right on his midheaven, which has to do with career and fame. So he became famous very early, and he doesn't need to partner with anyone. He just attracts fame easily, and his Jupiter is directly next to the sun, so everything in his life is very lucky. So I was like, wow, he really got a good, astrology placement there. He has a couple of challenges, so I wouldn't take his life over mine, that's for sure. But overall, I was able to see the major difference there, and to appreciate and understand why my energy expands so rapidly and so powerfully in partnerships, because I have many planets, and even my North Node, which is my destiny indicator, all in the house of partnerships. It also helps me to know I will be married one day, and I know that, and so I have a lot of faith and trust in that, but I also know that I'm not in a rush or anything, because I know the type of guy that I want hasn't appeared yet. So I'm holding space for that beautiful moment. So until then, I am happy with my life and really blessed and love my life. And so you can learn so much about yourself, whether you're looking to understand your own destiny, your purpose in life, your personality and your character, how you relate to others, and how the current state of the universe is affecting you. All of this you can learn from astrology. I even learned, like for instance, right now, Jupiter is transiting Scorpio. So wherever you have Scorpio in your chart, Jupiter is affecting in a very positive way. So for instance, Jupiter right now is in Scorpio, is in my 10th house, and Uranus is also in my 10th house. So actually, in sometime between September and November, there's going to be this huge thing that's going to happen, and actually, I already know what it is, and I'm planning for it. And so I'll let you know more about that in a different video. But anyway, so when you know where astrology is in the universe and then how it's affecting you personally, you can plan for it, you can set yourself up, you can understand why the energy is so intense in certain moments, like during Saturn return, or right now where I have Saturn in my 12th house and it's about to go conjunct with my ascendant. And Pluto, I remember the time when Pluto went conjunct with my ascendant, and I felt like I actually gave birth to myself. I had a complete rebirth. And when I researched it after that happened, and I didn't know what was going on, I just knew it was like the most intense time of my life. And I actually researched and found out that Pluto transiting the ascendant is, across the board, always known to be this time of incredible transformation and rebirth. And that's what happened to me, and I remember it specifically. I want to write a book about that experience. It was so intense. Anyway, so hopefully this helps you. I'm going to put the link to the website that you can do your own free astrology reading here in the description. Be sure and leave a comment, click like, and subscribe to my channel. Share this video with anybody that you know that can help them, because if somebody's going through a hard time in their life, there's very often many indicators in the universe and in astrology and numerology that can help you to understand, first of all, what's happening, and secondly, how long will this last, so you can prepare for things to shift and change. And also, if you guys like me to make more videos about this type of topic, let me know in the comments, and I can even do some live astrology kind of readings if you're interested, because I find that to be very, very powerful and fascinating to look at different charts, and so I can explain to you and show how these different planets do affect us and how each one of us is actually truly moving towards just being in alignment with our destiny. And the more you know about yourself and understand your inner relationship to all other beings and things in the universe and in existence, and especially in astrology, but also other people, you can truly start to live a life with more bliss and more confidence and more ease and grace, because you don't feel like you're a victim to the universe. You're actually in charge of the way things are going. You can see ahead, you can plan for it, and by having that ability, you are more in control of your own destiny. So, hope you liked this video. I'll be making another video about astrology soon, but leave a comment, let me know if you have any questions. Or also let me know, what is your sun sign? Do you know what your rising sign is, or your moon, or any of those interesting things? If so, let me know. I like to know who you are, where you're from, and I look forward to connecting with you again very soon. Have a beautiful and miraculous, blessed day. Namaste.